we're so excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Do you mind introducing yourself?
I am Casey Davis, a math teacher here at Mount Olive High School.
Well, you have been chosen for our Staff of the Month. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. You answer them to the best of your abilities. Why did you choose to become a teacher?
I actually started out in pharmacy school for a year and then decided that route was not for me. So I was going to go the math route, and I come from a family of teachers, so I decided to follow in their footsteps.
How long have you been a teacher?
This is my 14th year.
Oh my. Why did you choose math of all subjects?
It was something that has just always came easy to me in a sense. So a subject I enjoyed more than the others. It's right or it's wrong.
You like very solid answers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Was there anyone that influenced your decisions?
I had a high school math teacher, Mrs. Wallace. She was phenomenal, so definitely her.
Definitely her. What subjects did she teach?
I had her for pre-calculus and calculus.
What subjects do you teach?
I teach Algebra 2, pre-calculus, stats, college algebra, and calculus.
That is quite a bit. Well, have you had any other careers besides the whole wanting to be a pharmacist for a while?
No, that's about it.
All right, well, this is frankly my favorite part. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions off the cuff. You answer them to the best of your abilities. If you don't want to, then you don't have to.
Okay.
College classes, you teach those. Don't you need some sort of higher education to teach those?
You do. So I have my master's in math, so I'm able to teach dual credit math classes here.
Have you minored in any other things?
Nope. I guess I have my admin degree also.
Your admin degree. What's an admin degree?
I'm able to be a principal.
Hmm.
Not a route I'm wanting to go, though.
Not the route you feel like going?
No.
Sorry, I blanked out there for a second. You are a class sponsor. How has that been?
It's been great. My seniors are pretty good.
You guys do a lot of fundraisers, more fundraisers than I think any class has been doing. Are you the one that always encourages them, or?
Yeah, I think so. Spudich and I usually get together about it and kind of talk to the kids and see what they're interested in doing. We just want to be able to provide and get them yearbooks and their caps and gowns and everything for this year, and then take them on a pretty good senior trip, hopefully.
Have you had any ideas on what that senior trip would be?
We haven't. We've tossed around a couple different ideas, but nothing set in stone. We need to get on it.
If I remember, every year that I have been here, you guys have done candy bars. Are those a pretty good hot commodity?
They are. We make probably any profit-wise $1,300 to $1,500 every time we do it.
That is a certainly good amount. Well, since you've worked in 3 schools, you got any favorite memories from any of them? Of course, we'd love to hear about at least one from here.
Ooh. I have some not school-appropriate ones that are always interesting and make you giggle. Here, trying to think. Nothing that are coming to my mind right now.
Okay, we can circle back to that, of course. What was it like being a new teacher here?
Pretty good. Everybody was very welcoming. I think our teacher preparation program here for new teachers is always something we can improve on, just because every district has their own way of doing things. So in ours, it's kind of sometimes teachers just get thrown into it and they have to figure it out as they go.
Was that something that you were thrown into?
A little bit, yeah. I think we all were. I mean, thankfully, I've had years of experience, so it wasn't as bad coming in, but I feel like it could be more difficult for somebody who's just starting out.
What, are there any difference between the schools that you taught prior and the ones that you teach now?
Yeah, just different rules that you have and things like that, and different expectations for their teachers, the things they have to be a part of, grading systems, attendance.
All of that stuff?
All of that stuff, so yeah.
How about school size and all that stuff?
So when I was in Virginia, it's actually smaller than here. There's only about 75 kids in the whole high school.
Oh, that's
terrifying. So I was the only high school math teacher there. And then I went to Decatur where it was a little over 1,000 kids, and I was one of 8 math teachers, so big difference.
How is that a difference? How's that difference helped you better or make it harder for
I think almost going to a bigger school made me a little bit of an easier teacher. I was a lot more strict when I was at a small one. There was a lot more outside things that kids had to deal with than kids that I was used to having in the small school. Just a lot of external factors that were out of their hands. And so school was just a place they came to be safe and not necessarily a priority of getting things done.
Different priorities.
Different priorities, definitely.
How long did you teach at each school?
I was in Virginia, 8 years, and I was only in Decatur for 2. And then this is my 4th year here.
Well, this is one of my favorite questions, if I have to say it myself.
Okay.
Any bad memories you have from the school in general? Or just your school experiences?
No, I think everything's a learning experience, and it is what you'd make it. So, no bad memories.
Good way to look at it. Were there any classes that you personally struggled with in school?
I think physics was the only class I got a B in high school, so that one wasn't my favorite.
Your lowest grade was a B?
It was.
Oh my.
I was an overachiever.
So I can tell. How do you connect with your students? Because that can always be a challenging task.
It can. That's the pro of a small school. I think it's a little bit easier because you end up spending more time with them and you have them for multiple years. So I think it's just like some kids, it might come easier than others. And some, I think it just takes time and getting to know them and having, even if it's a small conversation, those little insights help.
It's all definitely easier to get to know people when it comes to a smaller school because there's a higher likeliness that you've had a sibling or a parent.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Have you, I don't reckon you've had any parents, but how about siblings?
Yep, I've had siblings.
Do you say that they're like each other, or are they
usually
different?
Not? They're usually very different.
Quite different from each other. Well, that's how it is. I have an older sister. You wouldn't have had her, but
your brother?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you might have him if you're still here.
It's possible.
Well, speaking of that, that's a great segue. Are you planning to stay here?
As of right now, yes. I'm not planning on going anywhere.
Then you might have him.
I might. What grade is he in?
He's in 5th.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
4th.
4th?
4th. Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe.
Are you planning to seek any higher educations than the one that you already have?
No.
No.
I am topped out on the pay scale, and it wouldn't serve me any monetary purposes to go get more degrees.
Out of all of your classes, which is your favorite one to teach?
Right now, I will say pre-calculus because I like the trig unit.
The trig unit?
Mm-hmm.
Guessing that's another math term.
It's another math term
that I don't have to deal with.
You have done, like in geometry, you guys would have talked about like sine, cosine, and tangent. That's the basis of it, but we go a lot more in depth.
Well, I've never been much of a geometry person, so it's not anything I need to worry about.
Okay.
What's the hardest class you teach?
Probably stats or calculus. College algebra is very similar to other classes I already teach. We might go a little bit farther with it, but stats is a lot different than anybody's used to having with a math class. And then calculus is one of those probably more top tier ones that people consider more challenging.
Do you often have a lot of students like jumping to get into your class?
Some of them, especially a dual credit.
Dual credit?
Yeah, just because they know they're going to get high school and college credit for it. So that's a big incentive for taking it.
I know you probably already listed it, but in specific, what is your dual credit classes?
So college algebra and intro to statistics are through Lincoln Land, and then calculus is offered through SLU.
I think it's pretty good that our school is able to offer that type of stuff. Has any other school been able to offer things like that?
Yeah, when I was at Virginia, I've noticed smaller schools are more interested in the dual credit, where larger schools seem to like AP, which is your advanced placement. So with that, they have to take a test and get a certain score in order for it to count as college credit.
I think it's probably easier for the smaller schools just because it's easier to communicate with the kids and figure out all of that stuff.
It's true. Might be a reason. Definitely.
Definitely a lot of different reasons on everything.
Well, and at larger schools, you have such to add curriculum or things like that, there's a much longer process of getting it added. And I know at Decatur there were multiple high schools, and if you offered a class at one high school, they wanted it at the other high school also. So that makes it not as easily done.
As in a place of like Mount Olive, since
Yes.
it's
just us.
We want a class, here's a class, and there you go.
It is. There's rules you have to do and things like that with Lincoln Land and, filling out the new class request form and different things like that. So
Do you find those easier or harder?
I don't have to do them.
Oh my, who has to do them?
Mrs. Monk has to do all of that. And Mr. Martin. So
That's all
they
out
can
of your
handle it.
hands.
That's all out of our hands and they get to handle it all.
Well, I have to say, I don't have any more to ask you about. Do you have anything you'd like to leave off with?
I don't. I'm good.
We have been very excited and very happy that we could have you. And thank you for letting us interview you.
Yeah, thanks, Lily. I appreciate it.